Please run us through why next week is so important when the Fed meets.
Sure. So, just a few weeks ago, leading up to this Fed meeting, there were a lot of questions about how close the Fed was getting to potentially, slowing and pausing interest rate increases. They've been hiking for a long time. They started a year ago, actually. It's the 1 year anniversary. And so we're up to 4.5 percentage points now, 4.5% rather, that the Fed has hiked over the past year. And I think that markets are starting to get a little bit nervous about whether the Fed is getting to the point where there could start to be some disruptions, right? Are they going too far? Do they need to just sort of stop and assess where things stand? So now I think all of the questions about the expectations around what they might do have kind of been thrown up into the air now after these series of a few bank failures that we saw over the weekend.
Don't many people think they've already broken something?
It's a totally fair question, right? I mean, and I think that policymakers are trying to figure that out right now, where these sort of a couple of, incidents that were, not one-offs, but, how closely related were they to what the Fed has been doing with interest rates? And more importantly, how are they going to filter through to the rest of the economy?
So the expectations now are where? Because I've seen people even talking about by the end of the year there'll be rate cuts.
Right. They're really all over the place. And I think that, there's a sense that maybe the Fed itself doesn't exactly know what they're going to do next week.
They're data dependent.
Right. The Fed doesn't exactly know what they're going to do at the meeting. So, some people are saying there's a good case to be made for a 0.25 percentage point increase. Others are saying that they should just pause. They should see how things shake out, that financial conditions have tightened a lot, and that's obviously an important consideration for them in assessing the impact of the rate hikes. So it's really up in the air at this point.
And between now and Wednesday, I mean, so much can happen given the week we just had. But what will the Fed be looking at?
Right. So they'll be looking, I think, first of all, they want to see no more bank failures. And it seems like things are potentially calming down a little bit. We saw, of course, the Fed come out and announce a new facility. They eased restrictions, or eased lending terms, rather, on the discount window borrowing. That shot up after that announcement. We saw huge borrowing there. So I think that they're looking just to see things calm down a little bit. And I think it's also important to them where market expectations are. And so they'll be assessing that when they think about, okay, what should they want to do here? I think that they could sort of go 25, or they could potentially pause. Some people think they'll pause and lean into sort of the potential for restarting rate hikes after they figure out how, the dust is settled.
It is certainly a live meeting.
Absolutely.
Kate Davidson, our Fed team leader here at Bloomberg, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your new role.
Thanks so much, Annmarie.